So first time of the year, you guys, we got a couple of minutes before we go Facebook Live. This is exciting. Did you guys get invitations by mistake? This thing was supposed to be on Tuesday.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Murphy's Law. Anyway.
You know, I was going crazy looking for you guys.
I apologize.
Kevin was going crazy too. Oh, yeah.
I will assume responsibility. I should have made sure our staff knew. I thought I did. Evidently, I didn't. So I'll take responsibility for that.
Oh, it's okay.
And then I'm going to blame John and Sonny. I'll take the responsibility and hand it back to somebody else. How's that? That's not being very bold.
That's typical in our world.
Anyway, just so you know, because my next bold launch, Lord willing, is going to be in Vermont in January, February, March. And so that will be on Tuesday. So we will continue meeting here on Thursdays, and we'll keep it on that path for as long as we can. And excited to get back. We've had some interesting things. We had a great contest here. We've got to brag on my Naples and Fort Myers leaders, John, who's on the call, who's my co-host, and Sonny, who's our Vanna White. And Naples won. I think we had a goal of 40 from Fort Myers and 39. Was it 39 for Naples? 36, and you guys exceeded. So we finished strong, and we're starting all over again. And that's one of the things, it's a little bit of a mental challenge sometimes, because it's kind of like when you have 10 pendings. You're really excited about the 10 closings you have coming up. And then when they close, they're gone. You got to start over again, right? So January 1st, we get to start over again. Yay. So it's 1 o'clock. Welcome to Denny Grimes, Master of Real Estate, as we're going to carry on our mastery level role play, doing question-based, listing enhanced conversations. And I appreciate you guys being on. This is ever evolving. John is my co-host. John, say hello to everybody.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing this new year?
Hi, great.
The appropriate answer, if Sonny was asking that question, was alive, excited, and full of energy.
That's right. And John has got an awesome radio voice. I'm not saying it is. He's got a look for radio. He's got
I have a face for radio,
voice.
Denny. It's okay.
Face for radio,
I can handle that.
So I'm going to share a couple different little things here. And during the last part of this is going to be, I want you to be thinking about things you're going through. And one of the things I love about how our team's role play has evolved, probably in the last month or so, is that our team is feeling comfortable talking about situations they're actually living. And you guys can be flies on the wall here. Right now, if you don't want to participate, I'd love you to have your cameras on. However, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. I'd rather you be on here and not worry about us calling you up. And so if we happen to maybe call your name, you don't feel like it, it's okay. I'd rather you be on here to learn. Eventually you will participate. However, during the last maybe 20 minutes, the last third of this class, I would love for us to be able to go through situations that, one, you may be facing or you just faced, and you want to have us role play it. So with that being said, I do want to share a couple different things. You guys, if you're new in the class, it's mastery level role play. And the format we use is question-based, listing enhanced conversations. One of the things that we've done on our daily role play is this, and I would like to see if we could do this, Sonny and John, if so you help remind me, is that before we start a role play with our team, I ask them to recite the model. So if you're going to take notes, get out your pen, pencil, lipstick, mascara, or whatever you write with, and I want you to write down the steps of the model. Hey, Whit, how are you? Here are the steps. Well, in fact, I'll just ask, where's Brian? Brian, you were there a minute ago. Brian, you know the model.
I forgot. Remind me.
All right, no worries. Here it is, you guys. I want you to write it down, because this will help you remember what the model is so you can follow it. It's acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. Write those words down. So before we do a role play, we're always going to start by recite the model. Acknowledge, isolate, address or answer it, and close. Okay. So we'll be doing that. And that's working out good for us. And people are actually starting to memorize the model. If you haven't already, my YouTube is growing, Denny Grimes Master Real Estate. If you haven't subscribed, go there and like it. And we're going to cross the 400 barrier here soon, and I appreciate that. I want to give you the thought of the day. Number one, thought of the day is, how many people have you had conversations with in the last 30 days maybe that wanted to wait until after the holidays? Guess what? It's after the holidays. Are you going to make them a priority to reach out to them and then follow up? Remember, the big money's in the follow-up. So I want to remind you to go back in your memory banks, and those people that were delaying until after the holidays, give them a call right now. Next thought of the day is this. People will wonder if it's going to continue. 2021 was a record year for our market in almost every category. The number of homes being sold, the median sales price, the price change, the level of inventory, the months of inventory, etc. I think we broke records in every category. Now, here's my thought. Will it continue? People want to know that. Now, the first thing I want to layer on that is when you say, will it continue? And so what is your first thought when I ask the question? Does anybody want to say what, and there's no wrong answer. I just want to find out your perspective on this. Will it continue? What's your thought on that?
Denny, I have a thought.
Yes.
So my thought is all we can do is look at our trends, and our trends are continuing to go up.
Okay. So you vote it will continue.
Yes.
Awesome. Your sellers will love you for that. Any other feedback? Will it continue where you are?
I have a thought.
All right.
I think it depends on the economy. You know, just even I've watched the rental market go up in my neighborhood. So people buy properties, the mortgages are higher because the prices are higher. So the rents have gone up $1,000 for the same property that was $2,000 is $3,000. So my question is, like, can people continue to afford this? And, you know, we don't know what the economy is going to do. So I don't think there's a way to really know if it will or won't continue. But yeah, that's my thought. I don't have an answer to the question, just the thought that I have.
Awesome. Love it. Anybody else really quick? How about out there on the left coast?
I would say depends. They're looking to buy or sell. Yes, I think it will continue.
Whitney, you're so committal on that. That's awesome.
What?
You're so committal on that. It depends.
It depends. That's why do you ask?
Well, awesome. Well, here's my take. In Southwest Florida, which is Naples and Fort Myers saw a 24% change in the median sales price in the last 12 months, and Naples saw almost a 30% change. Is that a sustainable rate of growth? And the answer is no. Will it continue the way it's been going? I'm going to tell you no, it won't. Here's the point, though, that I want to get across. When people ask that question and you say, no, it won't continue, where do you think their mind goes?
In the trash.
They think the market will regress. They think the market may crash. They think the market may correct. And that's not necessarily the case. In fact, I was on a phone. I made this note yesterday. Will it continue is equal to saying, will it last? Will it last? No, it won't. This state of growth is not sustainable. And you can just do the math. I think I did the math where our median sales price would go from about $370 in Fort Myers to almost $500,000 this time next year with another 24% growth. can't be done. However, it won't last. However, I believe it won't reverse. Now, I want you to write that down because that's solid. There's a big difference between saying it's not going to continue, yet it's not going to reverse. What do you got, John? What am I saying?
So, Denny, this is going to be a total Dennyism. I'm not even going to apologize for it. You have a very powerful Camaro, right?
Right?
How fast does a Camaro go?
I don't know. I mean, I don't drive it much.
If you were to know, how fast do you think it could go?
Maybe 180.
Okay. So our market's been going 180. If you let off the gas just a little bit, are you still having a near-death experience?
Yeah, 120 is still pretty fast, right?
Yeah. And so I'm right there with you on that. It's just because our market changes does not mean it's slowing down. In fact, it might not even it might not even be rational. It just might be less irrational.
Well, let me say it this way. I think you're on to the right point. It is slowing, not falling. That's going to be a very important concept for you guys to recognize when you work with buyers. Buyers are waiting for the market to fall significantly. We're seeing no downward pressure on price at all, although our sales are slowing relative to what they were a year ago. So does that point can be very significant. We can have conversations around that. Because when you say it's not going to last, does not mean it's not going to fall. You can still have a strong market even if it's slowing. Somebody tell me what they're hearing and how that might work where you are.
I'll speak up. I'm in Orlando area. Sorry, this is my work at home today for phone calling.
Yep.
But I answer the question saying we can't sustain the growth that's happening. But Orlando, our Winter Park area, north of downtown, the prices won't continue to rise like they are. But we are growing we're in a new economy. Orlando is just booming that we're no longer a small town. Our price is a new price point that I'm encouraging people to get used to. And that price point, like life, is going to continue to go up. So for a buyer, this is your new price point. Jump in while the rates are still low. For my sellers, it's a great time to sell because the buyers have additional money available at a lower price.
That's going to play right into something John and I talked about just a second now. I think that there was another hand. Rebecca, did you have your hand up or was that by mistake?
Yes, I did. I'm thinking as much as we are talking about all this and it makes so much sense, I just see that this COVID strains are going to keep coming for a bit. And more people are working from home and they don't necessarily need to move or travel like they did before. So where does this play a role in the fact that there is a home shortage and the interest rates are still down? So it's how many balls are we juggling here to answer that question?
Well, that's a great question. So how many different opinions are there out there on that?
Oh yeah, as many as every individual person.
And I think that particularly with this new strain, I mean, I've never had COVID. Monday, I tested positive for the first time with COVID. So I'm just flu-like symptoms. That's what they say, that the new strain is like a flu. So anyway, each day I'm getting a little bit better. We just had somebody else in our office come up with it. So yes, it's happening, and I don't know if we'll ever get totally away from it. Although I think that what we're finding is in Florida, the state is a little bit more open than some. I've not seen any decrease in demands. And in my 40 years experience, I don't know that I've ever been in a period that did have some flux going on. And it just spelt different. Each little market disruption is spelled a little bit different. going back into what we were talking about a second ago with Orlando and the prices, what we're finding is the bread and butter houses are getting to a point, they're getting to be out of reach for some buyers. So John had an idea, at least a thought, I thought we could start with, John, about how maybe a move-up buyer or a first-time home buyer may have to get some help from a parent or relative or something in order to afford their home. So how would you like to set this up?
Well, let's start with asking if anyone's come across that. Have you ever had a situation where maybe it's a younger buyer and they heavily rely on the input of their parents, who are obviously real estate experts because they've owned their house for 40 years? That was said tongue in cheek, obviously. So, you know, kind of get the humor behind it. Have you come across that situation before, where a home buyer is relying on their Katie, you're nodding your head. What happened? Well, you're muted, Katie. You need, there you go.
Yeah, it takes me a minute sometimes to figure that out. I'm actually closing escrow Friday with a young man, 23 years old, who's purchasing his first home. And when we first start looking, they were a bit discouraged, just because I'm in Southern California, by the way. So they were a bit discouraged because of the home prices, and didn't think that we'd find anything in his price point. And I just, you know, I told him, was very honest with him. I said, we very well may not. And, you know, with everybody offering way over value, he had a limited amount of money, but he had some money that he'd worked hard to save. And we just continued to look. And we luckily found something at his price point. His parents were on deck to help him because, you know, thought that was the way it was going to have to be. They ended up not having to help him financially, but we're definitely there as previous homeowners, you know, advising him. And as his mom said, you know, Mama Bear, which I encourage. I don't have a problem with that because I would probably be the same way with my children. So, but it, you know, worked out well. They gave him his distance. They wanted him to have that experience, and it was difficult. I just had to talk him into going to an area that, you know, he hadn't previously considered. So yeah, definitely had that.
Okay, so that was a wonderful way of addressing that right up front. You said talk him into going to an area he didn't consider. That's a readjustment of expectations.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So that's fantastic. Who else has dealt with parents, siblings? Heidi?
Yeah, I had an instance, and it was complicated because doubly complicated. I was friends with the parents, they had referred their children to me. Their children were originally working with somebody else. And then I came along and we found a house. I understood what they wanted. We found a house. Actually, they found it because it was way, probably $200,000 higher than the range we had been looking in. And the parents were going to give them cash so they could buy the house cash outright. And which, when you're presenting to a seller, of course, that's ideal, and it was great. And then sure enough, we get into attorney review and it ends up that they're getting a mortgage. So that complicated things wholeheartedly. But yeah, the parents, they were involved. They chose the lawyer. I had a tough time with the lawyer because he didn't always do real estate law. So it was a very, very challenging situation on many levels because, of course, I couldn't overstep my boundaries or that I had as friends. But at the same time, I had to get the point across on issues that were real issues, and there were many.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Denny's model that he started at the beginning: acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. That works for anything, including when you're dealing with parents who rightfully want to be able to give their input and their experience when they bought a house.
Right. So let's set up the role play, John.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm old enough to be a parent, and Bryant could be my grandson, right?
Yes, sir.
So Brian's going to be the buyer.
Okay.
All right. So Brian, you prepared to, not to point out the obvious, but you are probably the youngest one on the call, which is not a bad thing. So who is going to be the agent? Who would like to be the agent and take a crack at this?
I'll be the agent.
All
Actually,
right. And
but I
how do you
think I'm
pronounce? Is it
on-
Yael?
Yael, yeah.
Yael.
Yael, yeah.
Yael. All right. Yael. Thank you.
So
So-
I'm the agent, he's the parent.
I'm the
Bryant
parent.
is the buyer. Denny is the parent. So you have no idea what Denny's going to throw
I'm
out
the-
or when.
Got it. Okay.
So just start the question with Bryant. You ready to move forward? And
Just,
go ahead, Dan.
Yael, just repeat the model. please.
Acknowledge the issue. I isolate it and unpack it, address it. So
Right.
if there was a way to, and then I guess if there was a way to, get around that and then close. So I might not be the best person to be the first to do a role play. I'm a little
Okay.
nervous.
It's okay.
Okay.
But when you go through this, just the white words, acknowledge, isolate, address, close. So that's it. That's the model. You can just go and you're having a conversation with Bryant and we'll time this. Sunday, can you give me 3.5 minutes, please? All right, go.
So I'm could you help me frame the conversation?
Sure.
Brian is, yeah.
Brian's the buyer and Bryant, you're going to say that, hey, look, my dad is an awesome guy and he's going to help me with the purchase probably. So, and then see where Yael takes it.
Fine. So Brian, that's awesome. So your dad is going to be helping you with the purchase?
Yeah, I would think so. He said he's going to help out with the finances.
Okay. And is there anything that's specifically important for your father in this process, or how much he'll want to be involved?
Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to spend too much for a house since he's the one helping. Well,
And once we find something that you like, is he going to need to give his approval, or he'll just trust you with that?
I'm sure he'll be a part of the actual process, being helping with the approval.
Okay, so why don't we get on a call with your dad and just make sure we're all on the same page of how we want to go to the next step? Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm sure he would want to hear from you as well since you're helping.
Okay.
So you
wanna-
just joined, let's say you just got us a 3-way call. Yeah, hello.
Hi, are you Mr. Dad?
I'm Mr. Dad.
Sorry, hold on.
Your teapot's ready.
Someone's cooking and the fire alarm is on. So you gotta give me a minute.
Oops.
So maybe somebody
Hold
should take
on,
cooking
sorry.
lessons. All right. You got it? You want somebody else to take
Okay,
over?
we're good. No, I
Okay.
think we're good. All right, so just back where we were. So you got on the call and, oh, this is so exciting. Brian is going to be buying a house and he said that you were going to be helping him out with it.
That's right.
Okay, so okay, which mortgage broker how are you guys going to finance the deal?
We're not using financing. It'll be cash.
Cash? Okay, so, and then once he finds a house that he likes, are you going to want to see it first, or are you going to just go with his judgment?
No, I'm in Florida, so I don't physically need to see it. I would like to be involved. A couple things, I want to make sure before we go forward with it that price is right, and and I want to be able to give some strategy in submitting the offer. And obviously, I want him to get what he likes. I just want to be involved in the negotiation. I'm in sales myself, so.
Okay. And do you want to tell me a little bit about what's your experience in purchasing homes in the past?
Yeah, well, I've probably in my life, I've done, 20, 25 different transactions.
You're a seasoned buyer.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so what I can do is, and we can do this now, is maybe I'll talk to Brian, figure out what he wants, and then I'll jump on a call with you later and just go over my process. I'll send you an email with exactly how I do things so that we're on the same page. And if there are any issues or there's any questions you have, we can discuss it. I just wanted to check in with you before I started working with Brian and make sure, that introduce myself and, you know, let
Okay,
you know my work.
awesome. So is that it?
I think so, but I didn't do any acknowledge isolated address or close, did I?
Well, that's okay. I mean, you really
Okay.
didn't, you weren't given an objection yet, so
Okay.
that's fine. So
Okay.
let's, you know, I mean, I made some notes of things that I liked. Anybody pick up on some things that they liked of what Yael did?
Yeah, L, you're fine. Call me whatever you want.
Yell.
Call me Y. No, I'm joking.
What did you, now, it gets complicated. It gets complicated when the parent or somebody else is involved. Now, all right, so what was your blink on it? She did a couple of things really well right out of the gate.
Is it all right if I speak?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that she came off as very professional to you, but I also think that she opened too wide a door for you. She should be dealing more with Brian and let him deal with his father more than her reporting to daddy. That's my take on it.
Okay. Any other take? Sonny,
I like
I
the
think-
questions.
go ahead. Gio?
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I think one of the things she did very well is ask your experience in purchasing homes right at the beginning.
Right. Well,
He's gonna ask me how much time did it take her.
I don't know where that background noise is. You guys may have to mute yourself to get that background noise. So I like the fact that she involved me right away and she asked my level of experience and she wanted to talk to me right away and get on the phone. Now, all right, so let's take it to another level, John. And we can get some other actors if you want, so someone can handle the objection. There's one thing that I think you've got to do, and if you're bringing in someone else, particularly when they're not in the area, and what do you think that might be? I attempted to set it up.
Moses is part of it.
Moses.
Were you referring to like a just simple, is your money in the bank? You know, do you have proof of funds or something in that manner due to the cash amount?
Well,
I just learned recently.
I think that's good. It's probably not the first thing that's coming to my mind. Who remembers the meat thermometer question? So maybe it'd be like this. So YL, so I'm just pretending like you're the parent, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be involved, and this is how I set it up. So you want to be involved in the negotiation, correct?
Yes.
And you said you've been, 20 properties, so you've done this before. Let me ask you, and there's no wrong answer here, based on what's going on in the Baton Rouge market. That's where whatchamacallit is, Whippersnapper. That's where Brian is. He's in a Baton Rouge market. Do you think the market's working in the favor of buyers or against them?
So I think it's working against them. I think that there's less houses than less inventory than there are buyers. And what I do is I have my methodology of making my buyers as strong as possible. And the process that I have, I'll share with you of how we make.
Wait a minute, you're the parent. You're the parent.
I'm the parent. Oh, sorry. What was your question? You were the agent. Start again. Sorry.
Yeah, I just switched on you. Are you aware of how the market is in Baton Rouge?
So the market in Baton Rouge, I mean, I know my friends' kids are like all complaining that they can't find houses.
So would you say it would be a buyer's market or a seller's market?
A seller's market.
Okay, so I'm glad you say that because it is. It's actually, we call it a winner's market because you're going to win as soon as you find the right house. However, it's competitive. Now, when was the last property you bought? You've done 20 transactions. When was the last one you bought?
2004 is when we bought our final property in our portfolio.
So does anyone have an idea why that's an important question? Yeah, because if it was 1908, since they bought their last home, is the market a little bit different now? Yes.
Things are changing.
So anyone want to take over and we'll take 2.5 minutes of having that conversation, John, and you can, why don't you be the agent and you take, what am I doing?
You're the dad.
Okay, so you take over and be the dad and have somebody be the agent and carry on that conversation. Anybody want to be the agent for the next 2 minutes? You're qualifying the dad because the problem is going to be Junior's going to find something and then the dad's going to screw it up because he wants to go in and make an offer 10% under the asking price. What conversation do you want to have up front right now? Anybody want to take the agent?
I'll take it
I'll
over.
be the agent.
I'll take it over. Or,
Now, Bryant, you're buying the house. You don't get to take it over.
Brian, you're next. I know you want to play ball. Erica, go.
Perfect. Hi, Dad. This is Erica. I am so excited that you're going to help Brian buy this house. What I want to find out from you is how much of this is going to be on you and how much of this is going to be on Brian.
I'm not sure I understand the question, Erica.
So you're helping Bryant and I'm helping Bryant. So Bryant and I are going to go look at houses in this market, and this market is a super hot market right now. Everything's changing and you're in Florida. So are you going to want to see every house that we see, or are you going to trust his judgment?
No, I'm certainly not going to see every house that you see.
But let's get past that. And we're talking about now you want to educate on the speed of the market, because let's just add to the role play. You already know that he's not coming to see the house. He wants to be involved in the negotiation.
All right, Dad, you want to be involved in the negotiations. How much of the negotiating are you going to do? And how much do you want me to take on for Bryant?
Well, seeing as I'm the one writing the check for the property, I'm going to be involved in every step of it.
Okay, fantastic. So when it comes down to price, I know you bought your last house in 2004. Do you know how the market is right now where Bryant's looking?
It's probably the same way it is in the rest of the country.
Okay, so you know it's a hot market.
Mm-hmm.
So you know when we write an offer, we may have 24 hours or less to move forward with it.
And that may be the case. And however, I am not going to write a check on my son's behalf if I'm not comfortable that the property is the right property.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. What avenue do you have that will allow me to be able to escape out of the contract if necessary?
Fantastic. That's a great question. So in our contracts, we have several different levels of being able to back out. What would be the most important thing for you in the contract? What would be the most important reason for you to be able to back out?
I'm certainly not in your market. So tell me about those opportunities for me to be able to change my mind.
So we do, we have an appraiser come in and take a look at the house, make sure it's of value. I always
That's important to me.
Okay. I always recommend that every single one of my buyers get inspections.
So I'm going to pause you guys right now, and I'm asking the question: Are you making it more difficult to create a transaction here by giving the dad all these loopholes?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you want to build a mousetrap that works or one that doesn't work? So there's a fine line between wanting to appease what John, who is the dad. However, when you go with a contract with all those things in it, what's the probability that the seller is going to accept it? Lower?
Lower.
Yeah. So what would it look like? And I love your level of questions, Erica, but how get real with them.
Could I ask you a question? How she needs to put him in his place. She
Yes.
needs to let the dad know that she knows exactly what she's doing and that he has to listen to her. But how does she show that to him? Because I mean, I don't remember the other guy's name. He was pretty intimidating. the dad can be pretty intimidating. So that's my take. Sorry.
So
Now, there's a fine line between putting somebody in their place and taking control of the conversation on behalf of all parties.
Exactly.
So you got to be.
Yeah, that what you said is what I agree with. I just said it.
So how do you isolate dad's question? Because dad wants to know how he can back out.
Well,
I
don't
wouldn't have
want him to
even
back
let him
out.
get that far. I would have, first of all, the first thing you have to do is you have to express to dad your experience and the value that you bring to Bryant. And then I would say to him, we'll go out and we'll look at homes that Bryant selects. And if Bryant really likes any of them, I'd be happy to call you or FaceTime with you and we can video before Brian puts in an offer. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, I get it. However, I want the people typically, I just attempted to be how I would do. I just helped my other daughter buy a house, right? I don't care about that so much. I want to be involved in the negotiations. It would be better if I just wanted to make sure Bryant was happy. I don't care. I want to be involved in the negotiations. So that should be a warning flag to you. Bryant, you wanted to play ball. I'm going to take you out of the junior role. You be the agent, and John is the dad. And how do you put him in his place, so to speak? Because you better let him know which way the wind's blowing, because right now no one's done it yet.
John, so I know that you said that you're going to be writing the check at the end of the day, and you're not wanting to see every single house. So how do we make this about you and your son?
The bottom line, Brian, is I want to make sure that my son's got a house that is in great shape. You know, I don't want to see him buying something that is going to be, well, quite frankly, a money pit. And, you know, young kid, want to help him out. At the same time, young kids don't necessarily make the best decisions. So I want to make sure that his decision is the right decision before I write the check.
Okay, John. So
just say, I don't want to overpay.
Yeah. So John, from what I'm hearing is, you know, you want to make sure that your son gets in a quality home where there's not a bunch of issues, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if we do find that quality home, you know, if your son really wants it, you know, how flexible are you with cash to get him that house?
We're past that. He's got plenty of cash.
Okay. Well, you're
get to the hard stuff.
Okay. Well, John, look, you know, if we go see a house today with your son, and he wants it, how do we make this about you with communication? Do I just, you want me to give you a call and say, hey, this is the terms, this is the asking price? You know, if there's any other competing offers, like, how do you want to go about doing that?
Yeah, I want to make sure that we're not overpaying. And I say we, because it's obviously my money involved. I want to make sure we're not overpaying. So what sort of protections, Bryant, can you put in place for me to make sure that we're not making a decision that is not beneficial to everybody?
Okay, John.
I'm Scottish. I'm cheap.
From what I hear, John, is, you know, you want to make the right decision, right? But not make any mistakes.
Yep.
Okay. If we put all those roadblocks in front of us, do you think we'll be able to find that one house and get that seller to accept that offer?
I don't know. What are the roadblocks?
Oh, well, asking for a bunch of contingencies. But, you know, I mean, if there was another way to get the seller to accept the offer in this competitive market, would you want to go down that route?
I'd like to see. I'd like to see what that's like.
Okay.
By the way, Denny, whenever you want to interrupt, there's something that everybody is missing.
Well, I know. I'm okay. Look. All right. Go ahead.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just trying to process everything. Why doesn't the agent just, like, you keep asking question and acknowledging it's annoying, quite frankly, to me. Maybe other people have a different take on it, but I would just say, like, I'm the agent. I've been doing this for the past 5 years. I know this market really, really well. I will help your son find a house and we'll do it. And we'll get it done. The way that I look at it is, as soon as he finds a house that he wants, we'll move on it. And I know it's important to you that you don't want him to have a money pit. So we'll address that issue beforehand. And he may not get, and then going back to what you said, I think I wrote it down, resetting expectations. We just have to reset the expectations with the father and say, look, I know, you know, we want to avoid him in a money pit. You don't want to overpay. However, we have to be in reality with the market, and he may not have a master bath and he may not be in the area that he wants, but we'll identify and work with your son. So that's how I would do it. But I want feedback, like tons of it, and tell me if this is a good idea. I'm going to shut up.
Let me ask you guys this. All right. Obviously, my son lives somewhere different than I do, right? What's his living arrangements now? No one asked.
We never asked.
Maybe he's renting. If
Yeah,
dad's
but-
paying for the house, is the son paying rent or is dad paying rent?
Let me have John, just give me a little bit of flexibility. Let me take it to where I
Yeah,
think.
go ahead.
They're going to sabotage you on the money. When he says, I want to be involved in a negotiation, I don't care about, he can like the house. I want to be involved in the negotiation. So then who are you really negotiating with? The dad. So by the way, then this is the conversation I think you need to have. And if John, you're going to be the dad just for a second, I would say this.
Yep.
So are you aware, we've already established, you say it's basically, you got friends that are having a hard time buying a house. Yes, that's the market we're in. Are you aware that the asking price is the starting line? It's not unusual that basically homes are selling over asking price. Are you aware of that? And are you okay with that?
I've heard of that. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm okay with it.
Got that. Secondly, because the market's been going up so rapidly, it's not unusual that the appraisal will come in below what it's going to sell for. So I'm going to find out right now so I know what type of homes to show your son. Do you want to go after the new listings, the nicest homes, or the ones that are left over?
What do you mean by leftovers?
They haven't sold because they're probably overpriced, and we might be able to negotiate on those. Where the new listings coming on the market, you most likely are going to pay over the asking price and maybe over appraised value. Where should I put my focus? Those are the types of questions you've got to ask the folks. You've got to. Am I getting to the point now?
You did good.
Thank you.
This is recorded and we can all go back and listen to it again at our leisure just to be sure we get these scripts down.
And again, I was attempting to set it up is that if they want to be the chest thumper that, hey, look, everything goes through me. I don't care. He can pick out the house, but I'm going to buy it. Then you better school them because they're going to want to say, okay, well, let's start with an offer 20% under asking price. That's where I wanted to go. You're going to have that tough love talk with dad. Any thoughts, any comments on that before we go into something else? And what's interesting is if you don't have a dad involved in this marketplace, do you want to have a conversation with that buyer the same way?
Yeah, the problem is like, I'm so direct and you're so much more skilled just in the way that you navigate the question. And that's why I'm in this class, because I want to learn how to do that. But what tips can you give me of like, I guess being a little bit direct and soft and asking questions instead of like, I know what I'm doing, you listen to me. Like, I don't want to come across like that. I want them to discover the answer, but I don't know how to do what you did.
Well, the difference between what you did is you're talking about you.
Got it.
I'm talking about the market. There's a big difference.
Got it. Okay.
Whenever we start talking about how good we are, I mean, people start yawning.
Totally. I'm like, shut up. I don't want to hear about you and how, totally.
So anyway, anybody have an aha? Give me one or two ahas. You can put it in the chat or you can speak out and we'll go into, we've got about 20 minutes left. I want to go into kind of whatever you want to go into. We can cover it. We can demonstrate it. So maybe it's a situation you've just gone through or you're getting ready to go through. Our team does this almost every day on our role play. That's very helpful. So who had an aha in the role play that we just did on that scenario?
I just had this exact scenario, by the way, and had to school a dad. He's done a bunch of real estate transactions, actually about to be licensed in a different state, but he's like, oh, whatever. We offered $25,000 over the ask price. I prepped him. The kids are making the decision, but he's a part of it. So basically, we offered $25,000 over. I prepped them. Hey, guess what? We may have an issue with appraisal. Guess what? We went in waiving the appraisal. And first determined what is a number they're comfortable paying, whatever. Long story short, through the lender program we went with, the buyers were able to get a $17,000 credit to help with down payment and closing costs. So when I was saying, hey, when you're thinking about a number to come up with essentially for an appraisal gap, think about the 17,000 that you're no longer coming out of pocket because the lender is giving you a grant. And I was like, yeah, you might want to talk to your dad, whatever. So then they talked to the dad. Well, so I told them, go talk to your dad. And I immediately hopped on the phone and called the dad and said, hey, your daughter mentioned that you were thinking 10,000 for an appraisal gap. I just want to let you know, they're actually getting 17,000 free money. And there is a chance that they may need to come in with a number that's higher. We don't know at this point, but essentially having to prep him on, this is the way the market's going. I understand you want to come in possibly with a lower offer or lower funds all across the board. But I was like, hey, that's not how the market's going here. So essentially decide if this is something you're comfortable with and if you want to move forward, but it's just the market. So
did it work?
Yeah, it did.
Two things there really quick, and somebody may have a request. Whit, you said, well, whatever you're comfortable with. Listen, there's no such thing as being comfortable as a buyer in this market. Don't use that word. It's time to go get a root canal. We'll make sure you're comfortable. No, that's not, the root canals aren't comfortable.
There's no such thing as perfect either.
No, there's no perfect houses. And the other is offer. Don't use the word offer. You want to make offers, you want to buy a home. It's up to you.
So Denny, I'm going to rattle off a couple quick ahas that we're putting in the chat window for you. Listing price equals starting price. Winning market, because when you find a house, you win. Let's see, getting them to understand without it being about you, which is talk about the market, not how good you are. And should I be focusing on leftovers or the new and hot listings?
Yeah, there you go. Nice. So who's got a request from the crowd? Something you're working with, would like to be prepared? There's no better way to do it than practice it before you do it in person.
We unknowingly covered one that Whitney handled yesterday. So what else do you guys have?
I'm gonna wait till and see what happens with Biden. Let's handle that. You want to handle that one, John?
What was that, Bryant?
Oh, I'm not gonna sell my house and just wait to see what happens with Biden. He gets reelected. Yeah, Joe
with
Biden.
Biden?
Yeah.
So you're willing to sit back for 3 years, is what you're saying?
So, all right. So you're the potential seller?
To me.
Is that you, or are you?
Are you selling or buying?
No, he has a house here in Baton Rouge. It's, you know, it's a luxury listing. It's just not on the market now. He's waiting to see what happens with Biden.
Got it. And who's doing it?
Nobody wants to handle this one.
Well, I'm always ready to do it.
I got no problem with it either. Come on, somebody else step up on this. You want it, Whitney? No?
So here we go. And you do the next one. Give me 3 minutes, Sonny, 3 minutes. Okay, so we're going to acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. So other than that, is there any other reason why you want to take advantage of this white hot market, Brian?
No, I just want to see what happens. You know, I don't want to. I guess I don't know. I just don't want to see what happens with Biden. That's it. You know.
And so does that mean when you say define what happens with Biden, what does that mean?
Oh, like if he crashes the country and causes a bunch of problems.
So if he were to, so let's take that scenario for a second. Well, let me just ask you, is it other than what happens with Biden, is there anything else would keep you from moving forward today?
No, that's about it.
Okay, so outcome one is Biden crashes the country. Notice I'm using the words he uses.
Mm-hmm.
Then what would you do?
Oh, honestly, I'd throw my house on the market real quick and cash out and just leave.
So let me ask you, if he crashes the country, what will that do to the real estate market?
I would think that the real estate market would crash, but would follow it. I mean, it would crash, right?
So if you have the option to sell your house high or sell your house low, which is better for you?
Oh, I would sell it for high. When
So
more money's better.
Would you not want to do it before he crashes the country?
I mean, we never know, but I mean, if he does, it'd honestly be too late then.
Well, then I guess you could sell high now or wait and sell lower. I mean, and when you sell, what are you going to do next?
Oh, I'm moving to a condo. It's just, I mean, he's old. He's an older man. I mean, no kids. So I'm just moving to condo, 2-bedroom house. Condo, just live there. And I don't need this big house. There's taxes on it, and the pool is frustrating. But I'm ready to get rid of it. But just kind of scared to see what happens with Biden.
So, if you were a betting man, do you think Biden's going to make the country better, or make the country worse in the next couple of years?
I'm scared to answer this question. I really don't know.
Well, just answer. You're not answering for you. You're answering for your client.
Oh, I honestly, I mean, as where it's at now, I think that he have another war on our hands.
So let me ask you this: if you were on a ship and you knew it was going to sink, would you want to get off before it sank, or would you wait until it started sinking out in the middle of the ocean?
I'd want to get off.
Well, right now you can get off on top, or you can wait till you start sinking. Can you give me a good reason why you should wait then?
No reason, honestly. I didn't think about, if he crashed the country, crashed the economy, really, that real estate market would follow.
Yeah. And once the market, so anyway, I mean,
3 minutes.
Yeah, that's how I'd approach it. That direct.
Sweet.
Any light bulbs on that?
No, I like that. He used my words.
I think
A lot
I
of
think-
buyers and sellers don't seem to realize when they sell high, they're going to buy high. And when they sell low, they can buy low, but it washes itself out.
Yes, but how would you like to have your cake and eat it too?
Most people do.
Well, if they say in real estate you want to sell high and sell high and buy low, what's the first thing you have to do?
As an agent?
Oh,
No, as a seller.
To get in the market.
Well, if you want to sell high and buy low, that's a perfect formula. In order to have win on both of those, the first thing you have to do is what? Sell high.
sell.
Right. And so if you sold now, it's the highest it's ever been in the history of mankind. You would want to take advantage of the market now, right?
Yes, to get the most money, 100%.
And then if you want to buy low, that means you may have to find a temporary accommodation somewhere to rent and wait for the market to drop. Now, that would give you the opportunity to sell high and buy low. Does that idea work for you?
It can also give you an option to sell high and then just buy higher if you wait. No, I've seen that happen.
Well, yeah, you're right. And again, I know John's already licking his lips and talking about if you're buying up percentage or down percentage. So yeah, I get that. However, if you're riding an elevator up, as long as it's going up, I mean, you're not always guaranteed to be on the fastest rising elevator. We got time for another one. Who's got another objection? And we'll let John go after it. You'll have 3 minutes.
I have one, but I don't want to hijack the class. The objection that I got from, she's been trying to sell her house for 3 years. And first it was her dad. And now it's the market's too high. I don't want to sell because the market's too high. I don't know how that makes any sense, but that's her. I want to wait till it comes down a bit.
Okay.
Is she buying?
3 minutes, John, go.
So yeah, I understand that you want to wait until the market comes down to sell.
Say the model.
Okay. Acknowledge, isolate, answer, close.
Thank you.
So I understand you want to wait till the market comes down before you sell. Did I understand it?
Yeah, no, I have two houses. I have a house in Toms River and I have a house in Rome, New York. I need to have two houses. So I need to sell my house in Rome, New York before I sell my house in Toms River. So now I ended up not selling my house in Rome, New York. I have my nieces moving in, so I'm going to sell my house, and I need a basic, I don't know why she's not selling her house. I want to move to something smaller, closer to my work, but I'm scared to because I don't want to not have a house to move into. So I'm afraid to sell my house without having somewhere to go.
Homeless seller.
Okay, so I understand that you have concerns about selling your house and being homeless, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So other than that, is there any reason why you wouldn't go forward today?
No, the other reason is I need to make sure that my monthly payments are going to be affordable when I buy as well. So those two
Okay,
are my
so
two issues, not what?
Your monthly
Yeah.
payment, and you don't want to be homeless.
Yeah.
Other than that, is there anything that's keeping you from moving forward?
No, I really,
Okay. So, let me tell you a little story. It'll take about 18 seconds, maybe 38, who knows. So we recently listed a house for one of our clients, sold it for about 5% over asking price, cash, and the buyer allowed the seller to live in the house rent-free for 18 months while his new home was being built. Now, I'm not saying that can be done for everybody. I wanted you to know that example because guess what? Buyers are patient right now. When the perfect house for them comes along, then they're willing to negotiate other things. So if we were able to find a buyer that would let you stay in your home while you found a new place, would that solve your problem?
so no, because I realize I have like a few little odds and ends in my house that I need to finish. And before I list my house, I have to do work, like make sure that the floor is finished being put in and the moldings, and I touch up paint. So I have to do that first also before I put it on the market.
Okay, and how long will that take you to do?
Well, I'm so busy, I don't have time to do it because I'm between going to visit my dad and working. I just don't have time to do that.
Okay, so then you hire somebody to do that, or you put it on the house unfinished and let somebody choose their own finishings.
Statement.
So again, if you're going to be doing the work and staying in the house after closing until you find a new place, the timing of getting the work done really isn't important. Does that make sense?
3 minutes.
I'm just going in, like with my client, I'm just going in circles and I'm not able to get her to sell, even though I know that's what she should do. And I'm just respectful. I say, no problem, Pam. Take as long as you want. I'm here when you're ready.
If you're going in circles, if you're going in circles, you guys, you don't know where the center of the Tootsie Pop is. For example, on the work issue, I got to do these things. Okay. So let me ask you, if you had 5 $100 bills, would you light them and burn them and just watch them burn in a trash can?
No.
That would be foolish, right?
Right.
Just like those projects. What if you could sell your house and get your number and you don't have to pay to have those projects done because the buyer doesn't want them done? You're not into wasting money, are you?
Got it. And then what about her not wanting to be homeless?
But John has the answer, so I mean.
And then the monthly payments. Fine. So then really this lady, I'm doing a bad job because if I wanted to, my approach is, that's fine. When you're ready, I'm here to help you. I don't want to sit there, convince her to do something, but maybe I should. I don't know. What's your opinion?
I don't think we can convince anyone to do anything. They have to convince themselves. For example, have you been looking online? Have you seen houses you like that if you had your house sold, you would move into with an affordable monthly payment? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Can you buy that house without selling your house?
No.
Then I'm dealing with a seller and a wanter. She's not a buyer. So then what is your plan to get from where you are into that other house? You've got to sell your house first, right?
Yes.
So how often do you see the houses come up that you like, that you find affordable?
I like every week there's something that could work for me. If my house can sell at this price, then it will work.
Sure.
Yeah, and it could.
So going right back to what John says, if we could find a buyer that would give you what you want for your house and allow you to stay there for a month, 6 weeks until you find another house. Now you have your cash. You can act as a cash buyer. Will that help you move forward?
Right. Well, I'm afraid to do all these things because she's my friend and I respect her. And I don't want to, I wouldn't want a friend to do that to me, maybe. Maybe I'm just.
Wait. You're helping her. What is that? What are you doing bad for your friend?
She's in a place of discomfort. She wants to sell. She wants to move. I don't know. I work with a lot of old ladies and they're all the same. They're scared to do that. Yeah.
There is a difference between being empathetic and sympathetic. You're being sympathetic with her. Basically, she needs a root canal. You're the dentist and you're afraid to tell her she needs a root canal. You're hurting her by not being honest. You can get her moved. She is what's called a golden seller. There's buyers praying to buy a house, let you stay there because they don't want to move right away. Then you can have your money and take your time and shop for a home. You're liberating her. You've got to get your mind around that.
And what about her dad and how she's traveling? She travels 5 hours every week just to visit her father. That's 10 hours a week in the car. She feels overwhelmed and she doesn't, I don't think she's ready. I don't know.
Every major decision involves overwhelmed. So the issue is you're going to be overwhelmed forever the same way, or you're going to be overwhelmed a little bit more concentrated wise. And in the end, you'll be less overwhelmed.
Right. And this is what we've been doing for 3 years. The thing is, she is not a dummy. We're talking about a very smart woman.
So in all love, I'm saying be her agent, not her friend right now.
I started off as her agent and I turned into her friend and now I have to go.
Or refer her to someone else who's not her friend.
Right.
Oh, somebody says in a comment, please read the book, How to Say It to Seniors. It will really help you understand. Yeah, I'm a senior. How would you say it to me?
He is.
Very
He
slowly.
just had a birthday. He absolutely qualifies for Social Security
Yeah,
now.
I get Social Security. Are you kidding? So
Yeah. A question. I have a question that's helped some of ours is when buyers really want to do this, but they get immobilized. And have you taken her to see houses of where she could be moving into or places where she could be living? Because sometimes they need to see
time. She didn't want to waste my time. So she went to open houses on her own on a Sunday. But I had offered that we should go and spend the day, look at stuff, get her, excited.
Now, I don't understand. Does she want to move up those 10 hours by her dad or no?
No. No. But that's one of her obligations, is to take care of her parents. And she goes every week or every other week. It's a huge time strain for her.
So how many people are glad to be back on our rotation here Thursdays on the masterclass? Raise your hand. Give us a couple of ahas, you guys, and spread the word. Can you tell some friends to join us? I need 2 or 3 ahas real quick.
One thing I noticed about your class, Denny, is that you always stay on topic, best possible manner. Where like, for example, the presidential thing, you totally could have annihilated every relationship, visible to that conversation. And you just kept professional. You closed them in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's a master. Denny's the king.
I'm a senior citizen master. There you go. Thanks, Moses. Appreciate that. And here's the thing. That's what I'm attempting. That's what we're attempting to do in this class is, and it may feel like you should be poking your eye out with a spoon or something. I want you to learn how to see what's going on. And what's going to happen is you're developed, well, there's a piece missing, and now you'll know what question to ask to fill in the piece.
Got it.
So it's like, anyway, awesome class. One more aha, and I'll let you guys go.
Can this be open to our market center?
Yeah, it's open to anybody.
Oh, I'm like, no, we have to keep it exclusive to only the best agents.
Yeah, I don't want to make it grow. I want to find out what Biden's going to do to the country.
Hey,
Denny, one thing that I liked was calling instead of saying that it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, that it's a competitive winner's market. I think that's great. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it is a winner's market for buyers. Let me ask you, do you know a buyer that's bought in the last year that's sad they did? Nope. Because as soon as they lock in that price, they begin riding the same equity elevator up that sellers are riding. So that's a winner's market.
Thank you for your time, Denny.
Yeah, thanks. You guys, love you, mean it. See you next week. Same bat channel.
I'll be back.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you, Denny.